Okay, Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, sallAllahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, wa rahmatika arhamar rahimin. So inshallah we spoke about a lot of rules and regulation in the last classroom. I hope you guys remember. So we spoke about 3 different camps. If someone can tell me that, inshallah. When it comes to taking the da'if hadith, we spoke about the 3 different camps. Yes?
Yeah, first camp was Abu Dawud and Imam Ahmad. Second camp was Imam Shafi, Abu Hanifa, and Sufyan Thawri. And third camp is all other scholars.
Third camp was the scholars of hadith. So inshallah, what we'll do is, we'll just quickly recap that before we go in, inshallah. Okay, so there are 3 camps when it comes to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first camp is the camp of Imam Ahmad and also Imam Abi Dawud, which is the scholar of the hadith as well. So they put it very simple. They said the words of Rasulullah is better for us to listen to the words of anyone else. That's just a simple understanding of theirs. So they said we will take even if it's a da'if hadith over the opinion of another person. Now Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala said that this is not the right meaning of what Imam Ahmad said. He said what he meant to say, first of all we need to know that at that time there was only 2 classifications of hadith. So you remember that? So there was only Sahih and Da'if. So there was not 7 classifications of hadith. So Ibn Taymiyyah said because there was only 2 classifications of hadith, so that's why they even were looking at the Da'if hadith, which could have been Hasan li ghayrihi, or other categories as well. So there was not any of these categories were not at that time. Also, he said it also what it meant was they were giving preference to the word of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam if it was not fabricated or if it was not mawdu. So there's no preference to the word of Rasulullah if it's a lie. And there's no preference of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's word if it's made up. There's only preference, yes, when we can say that inshallah today in the classroom you'll learn how the words you know how you can relate the words. Inshallah I'll be giving you some of the other, when it comes to the levels of hadith as well, there are 2 levels, al-mutawatir and al-ahad. So we're going to speak about that as well, what that means, inshallah. Now there's camp 2. The camp 2 we said they agreed on 3 conditions and they disagreed on 2 conditions. So I know we were rushing through, so can someone remember those 3 conditions? We spoke about the 3 conditions.
The 3 conditions agreed upon should not be extremely weak.
Very good. Very good.
Should be used as a foundation of the aqidah.
Very good. Can you give an example very quickly? Should not be used as a foundation of religion. So for example, if the dwelling Dawish, while he's saying Allahu and he's going around, there's no foundation in religion to do zikr like that. You could just take the sibha and sit in the corner and say Allah, Allah. Although we may disagree with that, I may disagree with that, but I'd still say it's a foundation, you're making zikr. But if you now started dancing and beating the music and you said, oh, this is the praise of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it just looks like a song. You know, there's a group in Pakistan, actually, you know what, they wear the green turbans. If you listen to their music, it looks like they've copied Bollywood music and the words they've changed. Just the words they've changed is making the praise of the Prophet. Every nasheed, it just looks like a Bollywood song. So I don't know if you've ever heard them, but they listen to them. Music is beating, and that's foundation. You're changing the foundation. No one is saying you can't praise the Prophet or you can't praise the religion by having some nasheeds. There's no problem. I'm sure the masjid also has competitions where they get the children to read the nasheed and everything else. But then when you're bringing the guitar in the masjid and you're bringing the piano in as well, and then you've got an orchestra going and it just becomes the Christmas hymn, and it's got nothing to do with religion. So that's the second one. What's the third one?
We hadith that should not bring a new meaning to some existing understanding.
Yeah, so this example could also be related to what I've just said. Should not bring a new meaning to the religion. You can't just say, look, today we are going to, like for example, I made a dua. That's not a new meaning, okay? I told you last week, if you remember, we spoke a lot on the fiqh level. If it's a Hanafi Imam, he will never do it. I'm not sure if Maulana Shabir is doing it in Fajr Salah, but Hanafis actually agree it in the Fajr Salah. But maybe he's got his opinion. I'm not going to challenge him. Mashallah, he's well known and knowledgeable as well. He's got his thing, but the Hanafis only take this practice in Fajr Salah. Apart from that, they do not endorse this practice. They actually get upset if you bring it in any other Salah. Which they have the rule, they've got the daleel, the evidence for that, and we're not going to challenge that. But Imam Ahmed and Imam Shafi, they do it in every Salah. So I'm sure you've got Sheikh Yusuf, which is the other Imam, and when he leads the Salah, he does the qunut as well. And he's Shafi. So there's this difference of opinion. So this is not changing establishing new meaning to the religion. New meaning to the religion would be if the Imam starts reading the dua in English. That is the new meaning now. Or he's going to say, look, I believe no one at the back understood Arabic, so I'm going to make dua inside the salah in English. That's a new meaning. Salah and adhan and these rituals of Islam cannot be done in any other language apart from Arabic. Look, I'm not going to go on tangents then. I'm going to take a lot of time. Just a very quick difference of opinion. Some Imams have a difference of opinion when you're in sujood. Then you can make dua in your language. So there is that difference of opinion as well. But to stay on the safe side, you can just say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la if you don't know anything else. But there are Imams who will allow any language dua inside the salah as well. So now also there was another one. This was it. Yeah, sorry, this was it. Now the other conditions which the scholars, which they disagreed upon. These are the agreed upon, and now is a disagreed one. So they should not accept, this is what they disagreed upon. They said you should not accept this hadith, da'if hadith, to get reward from it. You should not be saying, oh, I'm going to follow this hadith and I'm going to get the reward which is in the hadith. So now, for example, this is a very big practice in the subcontinent that they read Surah Yasin. And mashallah, most of the subcontinent people, they might not know Surah Ikhlas, but they remember Surah Yasin because they read it so many times. They read it once in the morning, and they also read it one after the Maghrib as well. And also they read Surah Waqi'ah, which is, they said Surah Waqi'ah, if you read, you're never going to die of poverty. Now Surah Waqi'ah, if you're reading it, you should not, this is a da'if hadith. This is actually da'if jiddan. And also in the category of mawdu as well. You've got more than 40 hadith about Surah Yasin in the books of hadith. 39 of them are da'if, mawdu, and also batil as well. 39 of them. So basically, most of the hadith about Surah Yasin are actually not even to the level of Hasan li ghayrihi. So, but does that mean, should we stop doing that? No, it doesn't mean that. So that's the disagreement is over here. You read Surah Yasin as if you're reading the Quran, and you get, it's a good action, but you should not read it. Why? Because you will get the reward of so and so. You should not do that. Because
that's what people do. What do you think about that? Because people do read Surah Waqi'ah or Yasin to get reward.
yeah, so you're going to get the reward of reading the Quran. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that whoever reads Quran, alif lam mim, I'm not saying that alif lam mim is one word. He says alifun harfun wa lamun harfun wa meenun harfun. That these are, so if you're reading Surah Yasin with that hadith in mind, then you're ready. It's a long surah, it's 80 plus ayahs. So imagine how many words are in there. So you get the reward of 10 deeds of reading every word. So it's just, we have to be smart when we're doing these things.
My question is, say, people read those particular surahs to get particular reward. And let's say, Surah okay, in my subcontinent, let's say if you read Surah okay regularly, you will not get poor.
That's correct.
This kind of conception, I mean, how if someone does that, in that perception or conception, what is his or her position? I mean,
Look, inshallah, Allah will reward you, inshallah. There is a maxim of fiqh. You know, we're going to speak about that. There's 5 maxims of fiqh. The first one is al-umuru bi maqasidiha. It's basically your actions are dependent on what your intentions were. So whatever you did, what was your maqsad? What did you want to take out of it? Why did you do a particular action? So when people are doing it, this is why I say this, and I want to be very upfront with you. I am very lenient over the years. I was very strict when I was young, but now I've looked at so many people, I believe that everyone will go to Jannah, inshallah. Why? Because everyone has a way to do things. I used to be a staunch opponent of people who were celebrating the birthday of Rasulullah sallAllahu, alayhi. I now not do anything to them, although I don't do it myself. And I give you an example. I have been to Umrah many times, mashallah, Allah has blessed me. And I go once a year because of the nature of my work. Now, whenever I go, subhanallah, most of the time it's in Rabiul Awwal. I see the people that love the Prophet and they're standing over there, they're making dua at his grave and they're crying. The action is haram in itself to make dua, but the way they're crying and their love for the Prophet, I sometimes don't have that love. So we don't know what's in the heart of people. Rather than going out and attacking people and assassinating their character, these are things which are embedded in them. If we can advise them in a good way so they can come away from that, that's fine. But then Allah will reward them. Can you not see that Allah is not watching someone who's looking at the grave of the Prophet and someone over here who's knowledgeable, but I'm not able to get the tears that this person is getting? And I look at him, I'm like, what is he? What kind of a love that this person has? It's not that I don't have love. By following the Sunnah, you're loving the Prophet. By stopping something which the Prophet didn't do, you're loving the Prophet. But the way the tears are coming from that person, although his action is haram, he's got his hands up and he's facing the grave and he's crying. So I have seen so many people. I believe that there is a way we have to deal with these situations. We have to be nice, and if people are not understanding. See, you can never change your forefathers. Your father, your mother, they're at that level, you can't change them. There's a practice, the birthday of Imam Jafar Sadiq. It's a big practice in Pakistan. And the practice is when they make a particular sweet. I don't know what you call it in English. It's kind of like it's a hard bread. It's a round, and they make it in the month of Rajab. And it's a special, it's called in Urdu, it's called kunde. So it's a very special thing that they do. So mashallah, the Pakistanis already know that. They've been practicing it, pumping kundes in Rajab, the month of Rajab. So basically there's a special food they make. My mother made that food for so many years. And at that time, I was a graduate of the Islamic University. And I knew what she was doing was wrong, and I tried to stop her, and then she would turn back to me, how old are you? I've been praying and worshipping Allah before you were born. I have no answer for that. And so there's a way how we take them away. Alhamdulillah, she doesn't do it, but we used to have big gathering in the house. Like people would come to eat that food. So there's a way how we deal with this. That's why you've got the younger people who are always attacking people, character assassinating. The man does not even read Sunnah. He just goes to the masjid, he prays. But the first thing he will attack the people who are knowledgeable in Islam. Oh, this man's a sellout, or this man is this. You have people who have channels just to bag other people. That's what they do. You go on YouTube. I'll name you one. And may Allah guide him. Daniel Haqiqat Jew. MashaAllah, all his videos, bulk of his videos, 80%. Yasir Qadi is, MashaAllah, munafiq. He's a mushrik. He made a 1-hour video on him. And then he also, Omar Suleiman is also an LGBT supporter. They have not gone and spoken to these guys. And then you've got many of these everywhere. Because why? People like to listen to propaganda. And you get more people listening to you. There's many of these guys. In America, in Australia, there's many of these people. And I will not be surprised if there'll be a video about me as well. No, I actually would not be surprised. So there's no point in going after this. So the question you ask, talk to them nicely. Say, look, we've learned hadith, we've spoken to our teacher, and he said there's nothing like that. Even if they don't listen, understand reading Quran is not haram. So they're reading Quran, mashallah, they're doing at least something good. Some people don't even pick up Quran. Mashallah, the Pakistanis and the Bangladeshis are reading Surah Waqia. That's picking up the Quran. Mashallah, they're reading Surah Yasin. That's picking up the Quran. Some people don't even read Surah Waqia or Surah Yasin. Ask yourself, how many times do you pick up the Quran in a day? At least the man, I salute that man who at least reads Surah Waqia or Yasin every day. So that is the beauty of our, we should come away. Wallahi, I'm not joking. We have to come away from this division. There's a way how we advise people. We have to advise people in a very good way, and if they do not change, our job is not to get cut off with them. Our job is to keep with them and show them with actions, inshallah. All right, so moving on. Yes.
You know this about the Surah Yasin on that topic. So people recite Surah Yasin on the day. I know it's a weak hadith, it's da'if.
This hadith is actually mawdu, the one on the dead. Now, the one which is actually on a level of weak, which is something you can accept it. I actually have a lecture on it, and I'll share it with you guys. On the 40 hadith of Surah Yasin. I debunked every hadith. So the idea, the one which is weak, is actually why do you read Surah Yasin when it says Iqra Yasin ala mawtakum? Basically what it's trying to say is that read Surah Yasin on your dead is when someone is dying, then read on him, not when he's dead. Why? Because the matters of Surah Yasin, mashallah, you ask the man who's been reading Surah Yasin for the last 50 years of his life, he doesn't know what Surah Yasin says, but he reads it profusely. The matters of Surah Yasin is about life and death. And it gives you, that's why it's encouraged to be read at the person who is dying. Why? Because he will hear what is the reward that you will get and what is the punishment that you will get. This is what the bulk of the surah is. After it speaks about the story of those prophets, and then the man came, and the story of that man who comes to help the prophets, then he gives the story of paradise, what he's getting over there. And then he narrates the paradise after that. So, and then also the surah speaks about how Allah will bring you back. So the matter of Surah Yasin is, mashallah, there's a lot. It's very rich in itself. If you memorize it, but the hadith that Surah Yasin is the heart of Quran is a da'if hadith, is actually mawdu. So this is a false narration. So it has no standing in it. So inshallah I will be sharing, I'll share the lecture with Ash, and he can actually pass it over to you guys. Inshallah. Okay, so moving on. Yeah, where was I? Okay.
Second condition.
Yeah, the second condition of disagreement was that the scholars said you should never take hadith which is da'if when it's the matters which are known to the people, such as aqidah, ahkam and fiqh. These hadith should only be taken for virtues only. This is where the scholars disagreed. Some said you can even take it for fiqh and ahkam as well. For example, Salat al-Tasbih is actually a da'if hadith. The only man who made it sahih ghayrihi was actually Imam al-Bani. But if you look at the scholars of hadith, they never made this hadith, this Salat al-Tasbih, actually at the level of authenticity. Now, this is the matter of ahkam. So, can we pray Salat al-Tasbih? But if you are with camp that allows you to pray it, there's no problem. Why? Because you go back to the first condition. You're not changing the religion while you're doing Salat al-Tasbih. Why? Because it's 4 rak'ah. You pray 4 in Dhuhr as well, with the sunnah that you pray. Now you say Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, what's the dua? Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So this is a good zikr. Now if you're saying it inside the salah, there's no problem. You can make zikr inside the salah as well. So by adding all these things and praying Salat al-Tasbih, it does not make it an innovation, an invention, a new thing in religion. So if someone prays it, there's no problem. Now one condition that the scholars, again, they in part of this is, you should not do these actions in public. When you are doing these actions of da'if hadith, you do it on a personal level. Why? Because you should have the intention that I'm keeping the sunnah of the Prophet alive if it was a sunnah. And if it was not a sunnah, then I'm being careful. Why? Because if people see me, they'll follow me. Why do you think this Surah Waqiyah has become a chain in our generations? Why? Because one person did it and everyone else followed it. Why do you think these actions that we're speaking about, the special bread and Mawlid and everything? The Mawlid actually was an invention by the Fatimids. The Fatimids were not even Sunni. That's the government that was in Egypt, and they were Shias. So they were the ones in power at that time. And why did Mawlid happen? Because Mawlid was an event that brought money. It was a financial gain. Why do you think Christmas is so popular? It's a financial gain. Why do you think Halloween is popular? Why? Because it's a financial gain. Mawlid had a financial gain in it because people came all the way to the Fatimid where Mawlid was being celebrated. So they lived over there, they bought food from there, and that was good for the economy of those people. So most of these events actually have financial gains to it. And so it's not the time, inshallah, we'll move on. Yes. So the people that are part of this camp are mostly the faqihs. So Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam al-Shafi, Abdullah ibn Mubarak, and these are the guys who are part of these camps. So mostly the people who are big on fiqh. Now the camp 3, which is my camp, so I'm going to put a disclaimer out for you guys, that's my camp. They said, and this is Al-Hatim al-Razi, and this is Ibn Hazm, this is Bukhari, and this is Imam Muslim, and all the scholars of hadith. They say there are so many authentic hadith, we don't have to follow weak hadith. Do you know how many authentic hadith that you can find between the first? You know when you say ar-rawahu sitta, the word ar-rawahu sitta actually means the 6 who narrated. These are, you know, the books, the Sahih Sitta. Between them you can find close to 25,000 hadith. Why would you want to bring the 25,001 in there, which probably does not even have a chain in there? But again, we should be respectful. As I said, there's camp 1, there's camp 2, and there's camp 3 as well. Okay, so the camp 3 is very simple. We've got so many authentic, we don't need to actually make anything which is da'if. Yes. Any other? Okay, no one.
Even though as such it's a salah and you're just doing traditional tasbih, it doesn't matter. The problem I think is that the way it is read, for example, you do, I think
it's 300 times per rakah. I've done as well, so I'm not going to sit over here and say I'm some kind of an angel. So my mother made me do it as well, and I regret that day because it was really long and I hated salah after that. Imagine when you're young. Look, we all have skeletons in our cupboard. I'm not going to sit over here and say that I hang around with Jibreel. So I also have skeletons in my cupboard as well. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep these skeletons inside the cupboard. But so we've done it as well. When we were growing up and teenagers, and I understand I grew up in the West. So basically, I thank Allah that He guided me. Alhamdulillah. And it's not easy to grow up in the West. You look at your own children. It can be a challenge. Yeah, sorry, I cut you there.
No worries. So, as you said that, it's a salah when you do additional tasbihat. The issue, and I'm saying this question is because it might pertain to other things as well, is it's not following the sunnah of the Prophet in the way you have to read the salah. So, for example, in this salatul tasbih, you read, I think, 15 times this tasbih, and then you start Surah Fatiha.
Every posture, yeah. But it's not important that you have to do it at that particular time. This is what the scholars have given. You have to do 300 in any of those places.
When I read it, I was told specifically.
See, this is where they made the specifics to it. You have to, in order to achieve, I think it's 300 per rak'ah. So it needs to add up to 1,200 of reading of that.
Okay, so I just wanted to bring this up, but the issue I wanted to bring was that if there is something similar, wherein it doesn't change the core belief. So, for example, salah is there.
Has to be established through a da'if hadith. It's actually established because it's in da'if hadith. So we can't bring something new. So, for example, qunut, it's not part of salah. So this one is a special one. It's called nazila. Now, Imam Abu Hanifa does not take this. So he only took it. Why? Because the narration he has is only in the time of the Fajr Salah. And do you know that Imam Shafi, on another level, actually has qunut in every Salah, in every Fajr Salah, regardless of the difficult time or jihad or whatnot, regardless of that. Have you ever prayed behind Indonesian Imams? Anyone's been to Malaysia, Indonesia? Have you prayed Fajr Salah in there, in the masjid? What happens when the Imam is, after he comes back from the ruku? They make a dua. And that's from Imam Shafi. Did you know that is actually a da'if riwayah? And some scholars, when they go from the Hanbali fiqh, when they go to Malaysia, they sometimes don't even pray Fajr Salah with the Imam. Because that's how strict they are. Because they say, this is not the part of Sunnah. See, this is it. So they brought something, as long as something which is established from something which is da'if, it should be okay. So this is established. There is a book, The 3 Abandoned Prayer in English. It is actually done by a Salafi scholar. I shouldn't be saying that word, it's a very dangerous word. So by him, and he says the 3 abandoned salah, he actually adds Salatul Tasbih in there because he is the student of Sheikh Albani. And Sheikh Albani was in the opinion that this salah is actually not da'if. Sheikh Albani is in the opinion the salah is not da'if.
So what category does it put it in?
He says this is Hasan li ghayri. He allowed this and he actually prayed it as well. So you can look up, you can buy that book. It's a really good book. He speaks about Salat al-Istighfar in there, Salat al-Duha. Now you all are sitting. How many people pray after the sun comes up? And the third one he spoke about was Salat al-Tasbih.
So Salat al-Duha is
abandoned in a meaning we all don't pray it. In the Sahaba it was a practice. They prayed it as if it was the 6th or the 7th salah of the day. That's why it's abandoned. Abandoned meaning the community has forgotten it. Now we can ask everyone, we can go on a poll and look at some of the skeletons over here, but no, I'm only kidding. But ask yourself, you all are sitting over here. When was the last time you prayed it? Ramadan? So that's the question.
Some people pray every day.
Well, that's good because you're not abandoning the sunnah then. Do you know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
If it is sunnah, then why is it abandoned?
Because people have forgotten it.
Oh, not because it's abandoned, not because it's forbidden.
No. Abandoned meaning people are not doing it. That's abandoned. You've abandoned the sunnah. So people, the generation comes, no one actually looks at as if it's an important thing. The abandoned sunnah is tahajjud. It's an abandoned sunnah. I guarantee you, and because I am in the business and I do a lot of counseling, when I speak to the marriage, the people whose households are broken, my first question to both husband and wife, when was the last time you prayed tahajjud? I'm not saying if you pray tahajjud, your house will be in a better place, but I'm asking them. It's my question I always ask them. When was the last time you woke up in the night and you asked help from Allah for your marriage? That's my question. And they always say, we only pray tahajjud in Ramadan. So
what is the position could be some of tasbih? Is it Hassan Ligayni or Daif?
you're asking me?
Yeah.
It's daif.
So Salatul Tasbih and Salatul Ishraq and Duha.
Ishraq is...
They're not at the same level, right?
Ishraq, no, they're not at the same level. Ishraq is now Ishraq is a Urdu word or the subcontinent word for duha. We have three, we've got a double salah. Thanks to our parents, they were always busy. So they've got Ishraq with the time of Shuruq, when the sun's coming up. And then they've got another one. What's the word in Urdu they say for the one? They don't say duha. There's another one that's when the sun has come up before Dhuhr.
Yeah, that's about 10 o'clock or something.
What's that one? Chasht. That's it. See, I'm trying to think of these words. Yeah, so actually, it's only one salah. It's duha. What duha wal layli idha saja. That's just one salah. You can do it at the start of the time, which is 10 minutes after the sunrise, or at before the zawal, when the sun's right on top of your head. That's it. That's the entire time to do it. The best time to do it is when you don't forget, when you're leaving your house and you're going for work and you're ready. Because no one goes to work in shorts. You know, we all wear trousers. So when we are at that stage, we take wudu as well. Before we sit in the car, make your salah. Make it a habit. When you make your salah, you started the day. And today, inshallah, I'm going to give you another principle. You know, there are two people, let's say me and you, mashallah. We both are in the masjid. You're getting treble the reward of what I am getting. I'm only getting 1 time the reward and you're getting 3 times the reward. How's that? Because when you came in Fajr Salah, you combined it with 3 intentions. I'm going to pray the Sunnah of Fajr. At the same time, I'm going to pray the Tahiyyatul Masjid because I'm entering the masjid. And at the same time, I haven't prayed Salatul Istighfar in a long time. So my Salah is also Salatul Istighfar. So you combine 3 intentions. You're standing right next to me. You're praying Sunnah. I only get 1 reward. You get 3 rewards. That's a smart believer.
But Salatul Duha is not at the same level as Salatul Tasbih.
No, it's a high level because that hadith is actually proven hadith, and it's actually, I was only giving you an example. When we were coming to this point, inshallah, that's why I was giving you that example.
So what is this hadith for Salatul Duha? Is it daif?
Oh no, this is a very strong hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to his friend Abu Hurairah, you do 3 things, I guarantee you Jannah. 1 was duha, never miss witr, pray witr before you go to sleep, and 3rd he said to fast ayyamul bid. 13, 14, 15, the white days, which is the 13, 14, 15 of not January, February, as Islamic calendar. Okay? And now don't confuse yourself. Just look at the calendar of the masjid. Don't say I'm a moon sighter or that fighter or this one. So you come to this masjid, just look at the calendar. I'm sure they've got a date there. What's the date today?
It says,
You have the Islamic calendar on your iPhone as well.
You do? Yeah, you do. It's 21st of Rabiul Thani. Now this is a calculation. Today is the 20th, actually. Okay, well this is the 3 camps over there. Now Imam Nawawi, he narrated the 40 hadith. Remember I gave you 2 objectives and I said I'll tell you the 3rd one later. Who remembers the 2 objectives? When I said Imam Nawawi only had, it's the first lesson. I said there was 2 objectives. First lesson I told you. Sorry? Very good.
What was that?
So the hadith was short and simple. And the third objective is that Imam Nawawi, when he was making these 40 hadith, he wanted to present the complete religion of Islam. Do you know there are so many scholars, they made 40 hadith on jihad, 40 hadith on salah, 40 hadith on this and that, and so on and so forth. But when Imam Nawawi made his 40 hadith, he brought the entire religion in there. He brought innovation in there, he brought ihsan in there, he brought iman in there. So when he compiled this hadith, his aim was to give the entire picture of Islam. That was his aim. Now moving on, subhanAllah, today I will tell you, okay, one more thing before we go in. Now what's the reason when the hadith comes down? What's the reason when the ayah of the Quran comes down? What do you say that in Arabic? I'll give you the English meaning, the reason for revelation. What's the Arabic word? Asbab or sabab and nuzul. Nuzul is something that comes down. Now also hadith also has this, but hadith does not have the word nuzul. What's the word for hadith? The English meaning is brought forth. So something is brought forth. Ghuruth. Asbabul ghuruth. That's the word for that. Now this hadith that we're about to study, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, this hadith also had an asbab of ghuruth as well. Why was there asbab in there? وَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ لِلدُّنْيَا يُصِيبُهَا أو امرأة ينكهها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. What does that mean? If you made, just a very simple translation, I'll actually break it down later, but if you made, your intention is dependent, if you made your hijrah or your migration for the sake of Allah, then Allah will suffice you for that. But if you made it for a woman or for something in the dunya, a job or studies or anything, then that's your reward. And that beautiful woman that you made your hijrah for, that's your reward. Now what's the asbab al-ghurud for that? There's a story in the seerah that there was a woman in Madeenah, her name was Qais. Qais actually said, and this is a true story, she said, and she was, like a very special rich woman, I will marry someone who will leave their land and come and marry me. And a man actually came and he married her. Subhanallah, in the story, the man did not even have a name. He was called Al-Muhajiru Qaisar. So, subhanallah, when the wife takes lead in the house, then you lose your integrity. I'm only kidding, but there's some wives on the other side. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be just to them. But when he starts following something which is not part of his nature, then he loses his entire integrity. So this is what happens. In the story, the man is not even known. He's called Al-Muhajir Qais. The man who migrated for Qais. Does not even have a name as well. Now, Hafiz ibn Hajar and Hafiz ibn Rajab as well, they said this asbab al-ghurut is wrong. Yes, the story is true, but it's actually not related to this. We don't know what's the asbab al-ghurut for that. Some scholars actually did take it. Now, there's also the second thing in part of this hadith, and that's the special thing. And I asked you this question last week. If you remember, what was the question? Why do you think out of nowhere, Imam Bukhari brings this hadith inside Kitabul Wahi, and he starts the Bukhari with that? Even Imam Nawawi starts the hadith with this. Why do you think? Imam Nawawi had a simple explanation, which you all have. What's the hadith? إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. When you start something good, so you will bring the hadith forth. And you will say, you know what? Every time you're going to do something, you have to remember your intention. What was the intention behind that? But that's not the reason. Imam Bukhari is a genius. That's not the reason. And if you know the Shara, and mashallah, this Shara is available in Urdu, not in English, and also it's available in Bengali language. It's Bangla, it's available in that as well. Al-Hafidh al-Hajar al-Asqalani. This is the man who did the Shara of Bukhari, the entire explanation of Bukhari. It is voluminous. In Arabic, it's close to 12 volumes. And I don't know, I think in Urdu it was 40 volumes. So it's about 40 volumes, I'm sure. Yeah, the Shara of Imam Bukhari. So, and subhanAllah, it's the Imam Hajar al-Asqalani was an Imam of his own level. And he's the one who said why he brought this forward. And I'm going to give you, and I want you to all record this in your, write this down. The first person who narrated this hadith is who? Umar ibn al-Khattab. Where is he from? Makkah. What's the second person who's narrated this hadith in the line now? Alqamah ibn Waqqas. Where is he from? Madeenah. What's the second person in there? Muhammad Ibrahim at-Tamimi. Where is he from? Madeenah. And who's after that? Al-Yahya ibn Sa'ad al-Ansari. Where is he from? Madeenah. Very good. This is the chain. There's 4 people. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no one else who's ever heard this hadith. Umar ibn al-Khattab, the man who is narrating the hadith, is actually not a Sahaba, who's not seen the Prophet. Al-Qama ibn Waqqas, not a Sahabi. So he's heard it from Umar, and he's narrating the hadith. So everyone, there's 4 in there. After these 4, there are over hundreds of people who are narrating the hadith. Imam Bukhari takes this hadith from a special man. Who's that? He takes the chain from these special people now. Sufyan al-Uyayna. Sufyan al-Uyayna is the highest scholar of hadith. Where is he from? And after that, who does he take this hadith from? It's the teacher of Imam Bukhari, the one who's directly learnt it from. Who's that? Al-Humaydi. And where is Humaydi from? He's from Makkah. And what's the other thing about Humaydi? Humaydi is a Qurayshi. Now, where did the Quran reveal to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And who are the narrators in this hadith? Makkah and Madeenah. Imam Bukhari selectively took the people who were from Makkah and Madeenah to complete this hadith, and he did not take any other people who were from any other lands. And this is the miracle of Imam Bukhari. That's how special he is. Al-Humaydi was a Qurayshi, and he was his teacher as well. His name is Abdullah ibn Zubayr. So you can write this down as well. Now I'm going to ask you this question tomorrow, and why? Because the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, "Qaddimu al-Quraysh." Give preference to Quraysh. Always. He said, if you see Qurayshi, you always give him preference. Why? Because he's from my family. So write them down. Okay, Umar ibn al-Khattab. And then he narrated to Al-Qama ibn Waqqas. Al-Qama. So Qaf. The one in Qul huwallahu ahad, that Qaf. Qama, Al-Qama. So Qama, Qama. Ibn Waqqas. And then after that, now these are all people from Medina, okay? After that is Muhammad Ibrahim at-Tamimi. Ibrahim at-Tamimi. He's from Medina as well. Then you've got Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari. Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari. Now this is where the chain is now distributed in different hundreds of people. Now these are 4 people, special people, who've all ever heard this hadith. After that, the chain is now scattered. When the chain scatters, Imam Bukhari only chooses the people who are either from Makkah and Madeenah, and who is a great scholar, as Sufyan ibn Uyayna. We spoke about Sufyan ibn Uyayna in the last week's lecture. There were 2 Sufyans, and they were both hadith scholars. So Sufyan ibn Uyayna, he's from Makkah. So the first one, Umar ibn al-Khattab, is Makkah, and Sufyan ibn Uyayna is Makkah, and everyone in the middle is Madeenah. And the last one is his own teacher, al-Humaydi, and his real name is Abdullah ibn Zubayr. Abdullah ibn Zubayr, or al-Humaydi, is a Qurayshi. So he's from Quraysh.
Is it the same Abdullah ibn Jubayr who was...
No. This is Abdullah ibn Zubayr after 200 years. So his name is Abdullah ibn Zubayr, but he's his teacher. That's his favorite teacher, al-Humaydi. Al-Humaydi was a scholar of hadith. So whenever when I gave you my chain, if you remember on the first day, when you go to Bukhari, then Bukhari always goes to al-Humaydi or his other teachers. And that's how he goes to Muhammad sallAllahu alayhi sallam. Okay, inshallah, so that is the miracle in itself. Now you found how special Imam Bukhari is. It's like a Da Vinci Code. It's like, yes, there is one explanation to it. Why? Because it's a hadith of intention. You want to start everything with good intention. But that was not why Imam Bukhari wrote this book. He wrote this hadith in the Kitab al-Wahi. Where did the Wahi come down? Makkah and Madeenah. And how did he prove it? By bringing the people who were all from those lands. Okay, so inshallah, now when you learn about this in the hadith, there are levels of hadith as well. Now the levels of hadith, this is some other thing inshallah you can write today. There are 2 levels of hadith. Al-mutawatir, or you can say tawatur, or mutawatir. And the second one is ahad. Mutawatir is the most authentic level of hadith. Why? There's 2 main reasons. The first one is, there are too many people narrating, so it's very hard to make a mistake. So for example, if I said something and you heard it from me, all these people, you will make it mutawatir, because there's a lot of people. And when you go and tell someone about me, you're not going to make a mistake. That's the first one. And the second one, that you cannot fabricate a lie. Why? If you try to speak, one will try to speak lie about me, the 5 other will say you're lying. He never said that. So mutawatir is it's seal proof. So the first one is, there's too many people narrating, there's hardly any chance to make mistake, and the second one, you can't fabricate a lie. Alright, the second level is ahad. This is not to the level of certainty like mutawatir. And there are sometimes narrators on every chain, either 1, 2, 3 or 4, and not more than that. So the first hadith that we're looking at, it's ahad. It's not mutawatir. Why is that? Yes?
Why is it ahad?
Ahad is why? Because they say they're taking mutawatir as many, ahad is 1. That's why they call it. That's why the word used, wahid, comes from that, ahad. But there are 3 subcategories, and I'll explain you. Ahad is the main umbrella word, but then the categories will tell you which one has 1, which one has 2, and which one has 3. Okay? So there's the level of certainty is not at the level of mutawatir. But does it mean we can't take ahad? No, it doesn't mean that. So for example, one of the hadith, when it comes to aqidah, some scholars don't take it. Imam Abu Hanifa never took ahad hadith for aqidah. Now for example, I don't want to open this Pandora box, but I will still say it. I don't want to confuse you. This is aqidah, this is my playground. because I'm an Aqidah graduate, and that's my specialization. Now, when there is a certain strand, there are three Aqidah strands, Athari, and there is Asha'ira, and there is Maturidiyah. Now I'm not going to, if you can write them down, but don't confuse yourself. So Maturidiyah and Asha'ira, or Ash'ari, or Maturidi, or Athari. Athar or Athari. Now, the Atharis actually took the hadith of Abu Sufyan when he said to the slave woman, "Where is Allah?" And this is only Ahad hadith, there's only one narrator in the chain who says, she said, "Allah is Ar-Rahmanu al-Arsh istawa." She pointed at the sky. Now, I don't want you guys to start the debate, but there is another opinion, Allah is everywhere. Okay? So, how do you reconcile these two?
Maturidiyya, Ash'ari and Athari.
Yes. So how do you reconcile this? This is not from this classroom, so will not be discussed. Okay? So I just wanted to give you that example.
If there's a second opinion come from the Canadian Ahmadiyyas, they enforce that Allah is everywhere.
Look, no, you can't say that. Maturidi actually say Allah is everywhere. If you look at Ibn Arabi, and if you look at the great Hanafi scholars, they say Allah is everywhere. The idea of the ayah which is used to say Allah is above in the heaven is actually very difficult to prove. Now, it's my, I apologize, I shouldn't have opened this, and it's not a layman's talk, but the idea from Surah Taha, Ar-Rahmanu al-Arsh istawa, is now, it's very hard to actually explain istawa. What is istawa? Now, Allah will not ask you that on the Day of Judgment. You stay with what your teachers say, because this is a matter where people become very sour. And I'm from a camp, and I am already starting on a camp where I'm very sour with the other people. So I don't like the other people, because I have a very stray opinion of this as well. So I'm the minority. So I don't want to give you my opinion. So when you come to this topic of Aqidah, I am from the minority.
Which group is that?
If I tell you my group, then I'm exposing myself. So that's too much. But I'm from the minority.
Is it the Athari? We need to learn.
Yes, I am from Athari, that's fine. It's okay, inshallah. All right. Anyways, Ahad has three levels. The first one is Gharib. And this is the level which you find in the books of Imam Tirmidhi. If you ever read the book of Tirmidhi, the hadith book, you'll find a classification called Gharib. Now, Gharib means in those level of chain, there are 3 or 4 people. So for example, there'll be 3 Sahabas only, not more than that. So if there are 3 Sahabas, then the hadith is Gharib. But there are many Sahabas. That's a different story. Okay. And
Level 3.
yeah, 3. Gharib is 3. Yes. You only need first or 2 levels. If any level there is 3, then it becomes Gharib. Mutawatir, you have to have every level you need to have. For example, if you look at this hadith that we're about to study, the first 4 levels are Ahad. After that, it's Mutawatir. But you can't call it Mutawatir. Why? Because the source is Ahad. So even one level of Sahaba is Gharib, then the entire hadith will be Gharib, regardless of how many people narrate after that. So the first and the second level are very important. The second level is called Mashhur. This is where
Category of under Ahad, huh?
oh, sorry, I made a mistake. Gharib is where there's only one person. Sorry, my bad.
It's category under Ahad, no?
Yes, the first one, Gharib, is there's only one person. Mashhur is 3. Mashhur is 3. And Aziz is 2.
There's only one Sahaba who narrated.
One Sahaba. So the hadith that we're looking at is Gharib.
Mashhur and was the third one? Gharib, Mashhur and
Aziz.
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 Yes.
3 Sahabas or 3 narrators? 3 narrators or 3 Sahaba?
The narrator will be a Sahabi in there, yes. So 3 Sahabas. You know, for example, you say, An Abi Hurairah, and then you add wa Umar ibn al-Khattab, you add another Sahaba in there. So these are the 3 people who heard it from the Prophet. That's how you look at the hadith. Or, if you look at the hadith, you will find one Sahabi has narrated it, but there's only one, but the same hadith is narrated by another Sahabi. That is now taking it out of the category of gharib, even if it's the same hadith.
The first source should be, I mean, you're talking about first source.
First and the second. As long as they are not mutawatir, then the hadith cannot be called. Now also,
for the hadith to be mutawatir, of course there's
Quran is mutawatir, for example.
Yeah, so the condition is that a lot of people narrate it.
A lot of people. For Quran the condition was 70, but for hadith it's not 70.
But so it doesn't matter how many people are in the chain of narration. So for example, there are a lot of people narrating it, but it's coming in from multiple chain of narration, or it has to be just gharib.
No, it doesn't matter. As long as the hadith is sahih, even if it's coming from gharib, even if it's coming from aziz, or even if it's coming from mashhur, it doesn't matter. The problem, what we're trying to tell you, not all the hadith are mutawatir.
Yeah, of course.
So this will not change the classification. As long as there is someone who's a liar in there. That's why we need to go to the 5 categories, which was adalatul rawat and all these other things. That will make the hadith, and that will downgrade the hadith. But also scholars were careful. They said if it's a hadith ahad, you should not take it for aqeedah.
Okay.
They were careful in that regards.
So, for example, Rasulullah gave the khutbah, there were thousands and...
Yeah, that's mutawatir, that's right.
Okay. So I'm just saying, if there was some hadith or some scenario like that, but wouldn't have a lot of people stating that, means that hadith doesn't fall.
Yeah, generally the hadith mostly the hadith fall in the category of ahad anyways. Why? Because when he was talking to a particular group, there was not many people in there at that time.
Yeah.
So generally they fall in that category. So that's why the hadith that we're starting with is also ahad. I'll give you a hadith where there was so many people, and this is a mutawatir hadith. And this is the hadith that is in al-Lu'lu wal-Marjan. This is the book of Sahihain. So the 2 Imams, they narrated this hadith from the same chain, Muslim and Bukhari. They both have the same chain. What's the hadith? من كذب علي متعمدا فليتبوأ مقعد من النار. That if you have lied upon the Prophet, then you will find your chair in hellfire. This is actually a mutawatir hadith. There were many Sahabas at that time. So this is an example of that. So there are hadith which are also mutawatir as well, but generally you would not find the hadith, the books at that level. So moving on, inshallah, we'll just finish it off now. Basically, you need to understand most of these things which were derived later on, this gharib and ahad, this was only derived by the scholars of fiqh, usul al-fiqh. This is not done by the scholars of hadith. They never did it. Why? Because when it was rampant in the 3rd and the 4th century, when lies became rampant. Why? Because if you knew the words of Rasulullah, you could make money with that. That was a job. So people started making lies, and it became rampant. That's when the scholars of fiqh and usul, they came in and they put all these categories, so that people that come afterwards, they know how hadith science works. So for a hadith scholar, he needs to know all these science. Why I'm telling you? Because we are studying hadith, and we need to know that, because if you go home and if you've got hadith books and if you look at these hadith, you will know straight away, this is gharib, as one narrator over here. This is ahad. Okay, which category of ahad is this? Like for example, Hakim al-Mustadrak, he had another category which was called shaz. Shaz in Arabic actually means rare. So it's very rare. So he's got a category. You have a book, Hakim al-Mustadrak, and he has a book which actually has a category called shaz. Shadh. So with the, okay, that the which is the one which is used with the tongue, shadh, that one. And so that's why you've got many, if you look at Imam Nawawi as well, when he brought this, the matters of Aqidah, that's why there was so much denial. People who are, very quickly, just to tell you, people that you have to be scared of is Ghamdi. Ghamdi is a denier of hadith, and he is from Pakistan. He does not take Ahad hadith. So basically what happened, when it came to the issues of Aqidah, when it came to the issue of Dajjal, when it came to the issue of Mahdi, these are not a mutawatir hadith. These are Ahad hadith. So they completely denied the issue of Dajjal. They completely denied the issue of Mahdi. They denied all this. So if you look at these scholars, if you're listening to them, they deny Dajjal as well. They deny Dajjal because they say, oh, the hadith in itself, it does not fit in the category of mutawatir. But this should not be the criteria. As long as the hadith, we've given you the 7 categories, even if it's ahad, it falls into that category, we cannot deny the hadith. Yeah, if it was a da'if hadith or something which is mawdu or da'if jiddan, that's a different story. So basically, very quickly, I just want to finish off over here. If you were to calculate the authentic hadith, which I said, the research that scholars have done, it's between 25,000 to 35,000. That's the number. That's a lot of authentic hadith. Now, when they say Sahihain, when the scholars use this word Sahihain, this is only 2 books. Bukhari and Muslim. That's it. When they say Ar-Rawa'u Arba'a, this is when they say Arba'a, they've actually added Ibn Majah in there, and also they have added Abu Dawood in there. But after that, if they say Ar-Rawahu Sitta, then you've got the Sahih Sitta books in there. When they say Ar-Rawa'a Sab'a, 7, then they also add Imam Ahmad in there. Some scholars do not add Imam Ahmad, they add Imam Malik in there. So Malik's Mu'atta, they add that. There's a difference of opinion. When they say Ar-Rawa'u Tis'a, then they also add Imam Malik in there, and they add Sunan Darimi. Sunan Darimi is also a book of hadith, they add that as well. So inshallah, I will stop over here, and I will give you some more principles in the next part. And also we've already started the hadith, but inshallah in the next part we're going to break down the hadith, the Arabic word into the Arabic grammar, and also from that I'll give you some rulings, and I'll give you some more rulings. I'm going to give you inshallah in the next class the 5 maxims of usulul fiqh. Now these maxims are the ones which you know, it's attached to all your ibadah. For example, al-umuru bi maqasidiha, al-mushaqqatu tajlibu at-taysir, the ones that we spoke about. Al-yaqinu la yazalu bish-shak. So these are the ones that we're going to actually speak about.